Hey everybody, Pete Meier, another edition of In the Workshop. Today's guest, Scott Avellino. He's the marketing manager for the MotoShop suite of technology tools, including the one that we want to talk about today, MotoLOGIC. Now, if you're not familiar with MotoLOGIC, it's a service information system that very user-friendly. I've had the chance to try it out and been using it for the last few years. A lot of new improvements to the platform, and of course, for those of you who may not be familiar with it, I'm sure Scott will fill us in on the basics as well. So Scott, thanks so much for joining us here in the workshop today. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Pete. Thanks for having me.
So we've known each other for a little while now. Of course, I guess we first met a few years ago when the product was first launched and introduced to the industry. And again, I've had the opportunity to use it. I got to admit, I like the fact that a lot of it's OE based, if not the entire content, right? So I tell you what, let's start off at the very beginning. For those who are watching today, tell us about MotoLOGIC.
Sure, thanks, Pete. Well, MotoLOGIC is the newest repair and diagnostic resource out there in the aftermarket. We've launched about 2 years ago as part of the MOTOSHOP technology tools suite of products. MotoLOGIC is, as I said, the newest one out there. It basically, we have our 2-year anniversary. And we have basically we launched with the big 6 OE content. So we license all the information from the manufacturers. We don't have any editors whatsoever, and we grab 100% of whatever the content's on their websites. And we have a team of developers that really slice and dice the information in XML, which makes it very searchable. And we present it in a way that just makes all the different manufacturers, as you can imagine, they have their own styling, their own format. We can process all that information and put it into one, format that's easy to use and highly searchable. So again, we launched about 2 years ago. We launched with the big 6, Ford, GM, Chrysler, Honda, Toyota, Lexus, and we've been growing ever since. We've been working with our customers over the last 2 years, implementing their feedback, adding new content, adding new features, and just the content's been growing like crazy. We're now about 93% of the vehicles on the road today with manufacturers such as Mercedes, Mazda, Hyundai, Nissan, you name it. We've got the majority of the manufacturers out there today. Where we specialize and what makes us different from all the other information resources is that MotoLOGIC is based on search. If you've used similar browsers or search engines, such as Google or Bing, it operates the same way. You just look up year, make, model, you type in exactly what you're looking for, whether it's a component, a diagnostic trouble code, a symptom like hard start or stall. You just type it into the search box, and we refine all the results according to that year, make, model, and bring you relevant search results back, instantly. We also, specialize in not only preserving 100% of DOE content, but we preserve all of the OE functionality. Each manufacturer has its own functional way they want their technicians to use their content. Well, a lot of the other systems out there just take snapshots, copies and scans of those pages. We actually have the ability to preserve hyperlinks. We can preserve any kind of interactive functionality. So we basically make it as if you're using that OEM website, just all of the OEM websites under one umbrella.
Wow, well, that's again when I first saw the product, it was pretty amazing. I'm glad to hear that you guys are up to 93% coverage now. I knew at first that was kind of a drawback for you. You covered a lot with those 6 major brands. Most shops tend to work on the top picks. You don't get a lot of calls, for example, if you're working on Chevys and Fords to fix a Saab, but it's nice to know that you have access to information when you need it. Glad to see that happening. There's a lot more updates, so I tell you what, let's get you to switch over to your desktop and walk us through, how the MotoLOGIC works and the refinements and enhancements that you guys have made to it recently.
Absolutely. So, just to speak real briefly about the new updates, since we've added a lot of the new manufacturers and we're about 93%, over 93%, coverage, we've done a lot of updating to our older OEMs, updated them through 2014. We've added some aftermarket information such as specifications, maintenance intervals, labor times, wiring diagrams that are similar. The color diagrams that are that have circuit highlighting available in them. In addition to the OE wiring diagrams, we've come up with our quick specs, which is basically one central location for fast and easy reference to all the different and all the most common specifications like firing orders, torque sequences, belt routings, fluids and capacities, you name it.
Sure, the stuff that you guys need every day when you're working.
Absolutely. So let me, I'm going to share my screen here. Okay, so this is the MotoLOGIC homepage. This is where you come to right after you sign in. As you can see at the top here, we have our year, make, and model drop-down boxes, and then we have our keyword search bar. Again, we use this 99.9% of the times. This is the way you're going to find the information the fastest and most accurate way. We also have our what we call our 10 by 10. This is basically a vehicle memory. Consider your shop. You have multiple technicians. You have a lot of different vehicles coming in and out of the shop each day. Technicians are using MotoLOGIC many times throughout the day, so they kind of are getting kicked out once in a while when another technician uses the information and they lose their spot. This is a way that we save the last 10 vehicles that you've searched on. So you can click on any one of these hyperlinks and go directly to that vehicle's information page. Take it one step further, we save the last 10 articles for every single one of these vehicles. So you can click on any one of these articles or links and go directly to that article without having to relook up year, make, model, or keyword search. It's
Well,
just
that's real convenient for guys who are working with multiple techs in the same shop and using the same terminal for their information and go right back to where they left off.
Exactly. I mean, it's just skipping steps. It's meant to save you time. Again, MotoLOGIC was really built on the premise of spending less time online researching and more times back in the day, making your money. So we want to reduce the amount of time you spend online researching, and this is just one of the ways MotoLOGIC does that. So let's just do this. Let's look up a 2009, and we'll do a Mazda. Let's do a Mazda 3-speed. So after I select 2009 Mazda 3-speed, we now go to our vehicle dashboard. This is where all the information is found for this particular vehicle. If you look in the center screen here, we have about 2,920 articles. Okay, that's specific to this 2009 Mazda 3. We have 109 bulletins. We have 816 diagnostic articles, 641 diagrams, locators, maintenance, repair, specifications, and labor times. We also have this button up here called Quick Specs. If we just needed to go in and find some belt routing or firing orders, we can click on that button and go directly to whatever we need.
Very nice.
We have the cylinder layout, we have fluids and capacities, you name it. You can find it really fast here. And you never lose your spot. It just overlays on top of the page that you're currently on. If I wanted to, let's say the car came in and maybe the headlights were inoperable, right? And they weren't working, so we needed to find a wiring diagram for the headlights for this 2009 Mazda 3. All I have to do is simply type in what I'm looking for. I can go down here in my table of contents and search and click and dig deeper down into that index tree, but the fastest and most easiest way to find exactly what we're looking for is just typing it into the keyword search. I'll type in headlight, and as you can see as I type in, one of the great features of MotoLOGIC is we have the auto suggest. So I can start typing in, the keyword, and it will suggest all these different components that we might want to search on. So I'll just click on headlights and hit search. Notice I didn't have to select wiring diagrams or locators or maintenance or repair. I just click on search, and basically, if you remember, we had about almost 3,000 repair articles for this 2009 Mazda 3. Now that I've typed in headlight and clicked search, I've now refined it down to just 110 articles. I have 3 bulletins specifically on headlights for this 2009 Mazda. I have 20 diagnostic procedures, 9 diagrams, and so on. Well, let's take a look at a diagram. All I have to do is click on that tab. As I mentioned before, we not only have the OE wiring, but we also have color schematics that you would find in other systems. We're really the only provider right now that has both OE and color schematics with circuit highlighting. I like the OE. I prefer the OE. So let's just click on that button and filter down to only see the OE wiring diagrams for this 2009 Mazda 3. As you can see here, I'll click on this link, and you'll see the Honda, wiring diagram. And I'll scroll down the page here. What's really neat about MotoLOGIC is we preserve the OE table of contents that you see here on your left. This is like going page by page through the OE service manual. I can click on any one of these links and drill down to different articles. This is really neat if I'm going from wiring diagram to a wiring diagram. In this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide the table of contents and make the image a little bit bigger for you to see. Now this is the exact replica of the Mazda wiring diagram. Again, we're preserving 100% of the OE content, but we're also preserving that functionality that I told you about before. You'll only see this in Mazda. Mazda does a really unique job with the wiring diagrams. As you can see, they're in color. If we hover over some of the components here within the wiring diagrams, they'll highlight in yellow. They're actually hyperlinks that we can click on, and I'll show you that in a second. Also, what you'll see here is a button down here called Flow. Well, if I click on that button, you'll see to the left here, my ignition switch appears. I can turn the vehicle on, and Mazda wants to show you the interactive flow, electrical flow in the wiring diagram. So once I select on, I can click on the headlight here, and it actually shows you the electrical current flowing through the wiring diagram. Again, you'll only find that in Mazda and MotoLOGIC right now. If I want to look at the high beam, it'll show me the high beam as well, just the electrical current flowing from one circuit to the next. This saves a technician a lot of time and is very easy to follow. If I go into any one of these hyperlinks here, I can click on that, and then I can show you the wire harness, the headlight for the wiring harnesses, and the wiring routing as well. If I hover over this, it'll tell me what the color of the wires are, black and orange and white, depending on the halogen type or the discharge type. And that's part of the uniqueness of MotoLOGIC, is all related articles are just one click away. Again, saving you time, reducing that step of making you go back to square one and starting your search over if I need to get to a related article. Again, spending less time online researching. Another cool feature about our search engine is we can search on symptoms fairly easy. Let's say instead of the headlight, this 2009 Mazda, let's say it came in with a hard start condition. I don't have to know where that hard start diagnostic article is. I simply just have to type it in to the keyword search here, hit enter, I type in hard start. I've got some bulletins that mention hard start. I've got 4 diagnostic procedures. I'll click on the first one here, and basically this tells me, the description, the probable causes for the hard start, and then it actually takes me through step by step the OE step-by-step flow chart of the diagnostic tree. I can go step by step, and then when it comes to a certain point where it says in step 9, if I need to replace the fuel pump, rather than starting my search over and losing my spot here to look up how to remove that fuel pump, I simply click on this link, and I go directly to the removal and installation procedures for this fuel pump on this vehicle. Again, all relevant articles are just one click away. So we're finding the information, as you can see, fairly fast, and diagnosing and repairing with accuracy and with ease. Again, we don't have any editors. This content is 100% OE. We do add some aftermarket content, as I said before, for quick specs, for labor times, and the color schematics. But the majority of the content here is direct from the OEMs. And if you like, I can show you a couple more examples.
Oh, I think that's pretty thorough for anybody. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, Scott, isn't there a way that people who would like to know more about the product, isn't there a way for them to take a test run, so to speak?
Absolutely. So basically, we can go to motoshop.com. That's MOTO shop.com. And you'll see our suite of technology tools. MotoLOGIC is one of the first ones in the MotoShop suite of products. You can click on that link, and it will take you directly to our marketing page, or you can go directly to motologic.com, and on there there'll be 8 vehicles that you can test drive for free, and those are full access to all those 8 vehicles, and you can use MotoLOGIC as you would if you were a subscribing user.
Awesome, and I know that there's quite a bit more there too, fellas. If you're owning a shop, running a shop, a lot of other tools available to you to help you manage the business side of your business in addition to the base side. Scott, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with me and showing us all the newer features and the great basic fundamental features that come with this product. So, hey, stop by MotoLOGIC.com, give it a try, and see what you think. Thanks again, Scott, for hanging out.
Thanks, Pete. Thanks for having me.